When my Auntie Ruth rings up, she always cuts out on the phone if you call it. Hello. And really, she would say, hello. But it's that sort of and I think I was saying to you yesterday on the phone, I'm conscious of that in working in the bookshop like I do. I can't say, oh, get on with it, I'm doing sort of thing, which I perhaps I wouldn't necessarily use, but that's what I'm used to hearing people say. Because you think, oh, God, they won't really understand what I'm saying now, will they? They'll be thinking, she's a bit, I don't quite get the link, because you have to be, these days, you have to be universal, don't you, I think? Because the people that come into the bookshop, or wherever you work, are universal people, aren't they? They're not going to be, I mean, if you get a real Cornish person, and say, have you got that book, my lover? You know, you perhaps you drop back into you say, oh, I'll go and get out for a minute. And you know, you can speak like that to them, they'll understand, and they'll feel comfortable with you. That's another thing, isn't it? People feeling comfortable with you, I think, you know? And I think the other thing too, I'm always conscious of whether it's right or wrong, is that if you've got a really strong accent, people think you're sick, don't they? Very often think that, oh God, yeah, she's a bit, and you probably want to say, I too have been to college, I have got a degree, it's a stupid, but you know, it's wrong that you should think that, isn't it? That you should think that people think you're stupid because you've got an accent. I'm sure it perhaps happened to the Welsh or to anybody else, but it's that sort of, trying to speak, and at the same time, I get really upset sometimes, of course you're not Cornish, are you? Because you speak, you know, you don't really speak Cornish. And I have to sort of say, well, I'm from Polperron, and it's a slightly different accent. South East Cornwall's different to them than this part of the world. You know, we sort of say I to go and all that sort of thing. But I think these days, you are conscious of your accent and how you use it, you know? I mean, if I go into Polperron for a few days with Mum and Dad, and they go to chapel, where most of the people there I grew up with who brought me up, if you like, you slip back into your colloquial bits, don't you? Because people say, well, that's like my husband, how's your man these days, and dear? A bit excited and thinking, who's this man, you know? But that's how they was, and you know exactly what they mean. I mean, you wouldn't dream of saying that to anybody else. Oh, how's your man? You say, how's your husband these days, wouldn't you? But how's your man? You know, coming along all right now, because you're doing well or whatever, you know. And explain that, and I'm desperately sorry if that goes, that accent goes, I think, with Polperron. I mean, I see it happen when you go on, Polperron's getting diluted every time I go home, because more and more people aren't Polperron people anymore, and, you know, and it's just, you think, I don't disappear altogether, because what's disappeared in my lifetime, they never really could come back, will it?
Right, you're getting some good stuff here, but got a good engineer and cut things in and out, so I'm told for a slurp tea or whatever, or coffee, and it'll be edited out.
But I can remember the treat, I mean, I used to love homemade cake and things, but the treat of having something like McVitie's, that was like really exotic, ginger cake, Jamaica ginger cake, you really believed that it was like from Jamaica. And I remember, because I mean, we baked cake eaters, don't we, bun eaters about it, and when he came from Sussex, he was horrified the amount of cakes we ate. Because, like, first good tea at Gran, she'd have this great, like, tiered, you know, plate thing, like 3 tiers, with hundreds of buns and cakes and scones and energy and rolls for grandpa, because that was, you know, you had what we ate, and Rodvitas, but on the top, all these, like, kunzu cupcakes and little fancies, and that was, like, part of tea, you know, I mean, tea was, you'd have a great cook thing, and you'd have these little fancies afterwards, but, I mean, it's like, oh, rubbish, really, what you think, we poured that up with the homemade cake and buns, but somehow this treat, I suppose. So, like, when you lived in Polperron, there was only, there was Oliver and Aikens, which was a greengrocer shop, and Mr. Giles, and my grandpa was the butcher, and the baker. I mean, it's just literally like that. So, the limited choice, because in those days you didn't go down to St. Austell, Glasgow, or up in Scar, you didn't go, because they didn't exist for a start, and you never thought of going to do shopping anywhere else, so everything was bought in the village, and if they only hadn't been a mangled up cheese, that's what you ate, like, you know. So, you didn't have these cosmopolitan and things. And I mean, I can remember, Bill Tucker was among the greengrocers thing, and this van used to come down the hill, all sort of falling to pieces, and he'd give her a tote, and she'd go down, and the potato was actually growing in the back of his van. It was that clogged up with mud and sort of earth and things that these spuds was actually like took root, and it basically this van, but all you could get was like potatoes, turnips, and carrots. Peppers, you know, green peppers, what were they? I mean, the only time I came across things like that was when I went to Sussex to Vic's family, because in the own counties, that was all sort of, they were like that much further ahead. That was normal food, exotic food, but you just had this great suspicion of anything that wasn't a tomato, I think. Because you didn't grow it, you didn't see it. And even if you went up Plymouth, you didn't really see food like that, especially you didn't go for food shopping. Still always bring a bit of gorgonzola cheese on it in the afternoon either, but that was about...
A bit fish.
Yeah, we lived on a lot of fish, because, I mean, obviously, people was catching it. My dad, when he was a carpenter, he had a small boat, and he used to have a rain net out, so he used to catch fish and sell it, and then we'd always eat, you know, what was left over or whatever. And very often people would pay Dad in fish, he'd do a little job for them, and they, especially those, you know, quite poor, some of the fishermen people, he'd do a window or something, and they said, well, oh my, I'll have a couple of these, you know, bring up a thing of white and a pullock or some mackerel or something. And that's how you got paid, which I think is a fine way, isn't it, really, bartering sort of thing, in a way. But the best thing we used to eat was skerries, little crab legs. I mean, carbages is another name for it. I mean, not the big bun crabs, but the spider crabs. We used to call them carbages or skerries. And the meat of the legs is absolutely sweet as a nut, but in terms of cleaning it out, it just wouldn't worth anybody's time, so they'd use the bodies, chuck the legs overboard, else we'd get them. And we used to get like carrier bags full of, well, that was in the new days of carrier bags. In the old days, you get a bucket of carbages legs and you just boil them out. Oh, flavour, it's just like elixir, it's really delicious. Here is lovely. And somewhere up Weybridge in Edge, up behind Weybridge somewhere, there's a pile of crab's legs. We went out for a picnic once, chucked it all in the edge. It says a piece of archaeologists in time to come and probably be thinking, where did these crab legs get up in this edge at Weybridge? But we did eat. I mean, Dad used to get the big crayfish as well, really big, like big lobsters. We'd get those in. And they command quite a good price, but I mean, for a treat, we'd have it, and the flavour of it, you know, was really good. And scallops, small scallops that didn't quite make the actual size, the grain to sell. We'd get a bucket full of scallops. You'd eat scallops, you were sick. And then you'd go in a restaurant, you'd get like 3 on a plate, didn't you, and pay some exorbitant price for it. So the riches of the sea were very much there, you know, when you was a child. And I mean, I can remember coming across the quay with like a handful of mackerel, and you finger through all the gills of all the mackerel, and all the holiday makers go, oh, look at that one go with those mackerel, you know. But you just, well, so you did swagger a bit, so you felt you were some butt going out with all these mackerel on the finger. But that was just natural, and I mean...
Totally alien to me, because I grew up in that.
Yeah, that's right. And to us, I mean, I grew up on the sea, and we had, because Dad was really a boat builder, you know, but he did carpentry. So we always had a boat in the family before we ever had a car, and I was getting my own little boat. And it was, I mean, every Saturday, it was, I mean, literally every Saturday in the summer, we used to pack up, and we used to laugh at the village, my family, Mum and Dad, my Auntie Eunice, my Uncle Dick, Cousin John, his girl, his young lady, Carol, my cousin Carolyn and me. We'd go down the end of the quay, or wherever there was water, we'd bring the boat in. We'd have demi-johns with water, thermos flasks, Dad's great prawn net thing, swimming bag, Mum's basket with food, and Auntie Eunice's basket. All this, I think it's going to Iceland for a month at least, all this stuff. We'd all go on board the boat, and we'd go to Talland, or depending on the sea, which way the wind was blowing, up to Talland, or down to Foy, down Atlantic Bay. We'd all stop at Atlantic with Coombe for the coffee, and the first swim of the day, and then we'd carry on down Foy River or wherever. But we always had to be back 6 o'clock for Auntie Eunice to go prayer meeting. That was your time, that was your day, you know. But oh, what wonderful times! I mean, that's something that people don't do now, because you go out in the car, didn't you? Or people go out in the car, and we used to go chugsing off and explore up the river, up the land, up pond and everything. But it was a fantastic childhood, because it was all so on tap, really. It was all innocent, you know. It's really lovely. And
it's really interesting what you say. So chatted to a bloke up Bood, and it's the same thing up there. Although somebody is a butcher or whatever, they've all got a boat.
Yeah.
And they mix a lot with the music people. And there's something else in the city, they call it community weekend or something, off season.
Oh.
Where they go en masse over to Scilly.
Oh, yeah.
Gig racing and stuff.
Oh.
But it's the coastal. They've got better links for something 20 miles down the coast.
Than they have on their doorstep.
Than they have something 1 mile inland.
Yeah, it's just, it's a sea thing, isn't it? I mean, to enter Foy Harbour, I haven't done that journey, because I mean, the coast between Peran and Foy is beautiful. She chugs along, and there's all the Napoleonic walls that they built for the prisoners and that. And then we just, I mean, in a small boat, you just hug the coast. You go around and stopped at Kernow, like I say, or Lansalas, or Atlantic Bay. And you come around the mouth of Foy Harbour, and I mean, it was just so lovely to see it there, because it was big. I mean, again, living in a little village, at Polkell, it's so much a bigger harbour. And Foy, you had the clay ships going up, and big boats, big yachts and things. And it was just really special. And I mean, we often look back, all of us look back and did all that, and say, well, you'll never do it again, never in the same way. It was just really lovely. When you get down, Uncle Dick would come from Foy, there'd be people, hello boy, how you doing, all right? Down again with the family, and all this lovely sort of going on, lots of fishermen and the boatmen and that. And then we used to go up and get our petrol up through one of the little alleyways on Foy, and this woman had a beard. When you're a little kid, I mean, that's what do you think about a beard, because you've got to stare at this poor woman. I don't know if she did or not, but in your mind when you were a kid, you make it bigger, didn't you? And that sort of lovely flavour and the smell of it all, it's all still there. When I go back to Foy, I still remember it all. And then going up to Pont, that magic time, and you just cut the engine out, you have Stuart and Turner, because it's quite a noisy engine, Stuart trying to switch it off. Absolute tranquil peace. And if we was lucky, the kingfisher would scritch and fly up through the river, and that was like our treat. Once we'd seen the kingfisher, we put the garments on, we'd have our cup of tea and have our dinner up there. And then we'd just come back with the tide, float back then with the tide, back to Foy, back to the metropolis, and then back round to home at 6 o'clock, down to Eunice in the evening. It was so special, to be able to remember that. I think it's really. And the other thing, Dad would always make these little flotillas of boats. He'd cut boats out of bits of cork and Smith's crisp bags, the old Smith's crisp bags, not the plastic ones, but the papery one. So when you come out of Foy, very often you'd pass Dad's little flotilla that he'd made up the river or on the beach or wherever you'd been for that day. It was really exciting. But I think my sister was born a long time after me. She was 11 years younger than me. And then with that, we had the boat a few more years. But then Dad sold the boat and bought a car. And then life completely changed after that. I mean, I still had odd boat trips with other people and that, but you went away from the sea then and started exploring inland, which we hadn't been able to do before, which I've had a lovely time exploring all these little. I mean, Dad's criteria of a good trip out is if he goes up a road and there's grass growing up in the middle. That's sort of that's a good time.
It's funny. The more I sort of talk to people, around, I'm convinced that Cornwall was divided into two, and it's like coastal and
I suppose.
And just right down to what they eat. I mean, I grew up, if you run up the hill, you actually see both coasts. But we don't eat fish.
Really?
Oh, we weren't poor people, we ate meat. And like, Mother used to make, not saffron buns, but yeasty buns.
Oh, yeah.
And pasties and stuff, all very traditional.
Yeah.
But we've never had fish. The only time we'd had fish is when my uncle used to go down Cornishdialect in Prala, especially
a fishing trip.
Trip, or we used to take our holidays in hail. That sounds daft. We come from Camden area.
Oh, no, not really. I mean, that's what we did then. Did travel so far, did they?
But the point is that hail was sufficiently exhausting.
Yeah, to go.
If you went at Cockerell, you could actually see the big sand dunes with it.
Yeah.
But that was another
That
world.
was somewhere else. Yeah.
But, it was just weird. That's the way people were divided.
Mind you, I mean, my mum don't like fish. I mean, she really eat like crayfish and lots. She likes that sort of fish, but she didn't much eat fish. But then my grandpa was a butcher, so I suppose she'd always been used to. I mean, I don't eat meat now, but we used to eat meat. Did have good meat, and people did eat meat, didn't they? I think the fish was always there. Meat was much more. There was a couple of butcher shops in Polper actually when I was little, but my grandpa was like J.C. Tom's son, the main butcher, and I was always Butcher Tom's granddaughter. Still am, I think. Oh, Butcher Tom's maid's maid. It's that sort of thing. But still go Mary, Gaye to me to get the name comes out. But I can always remember Grandpa, because we used to live there with my grands for a long time. My dad was doing our house up. My grandpa would always come home 1 o'clock dinner. That was it. I mean, that was it. Life went on at 1 o'clock dinner, 5 o'clock tea. I remember my mum and dad still really stick to that. Whereas I think all of us these days, we just have things when they happen, don't we? It's not sort of set time. 1 o'clock, when the pips of the news went, Grandpa would come round the corner in his white butcher's overall with his stripy pinny, and blood down the front. And he'd always bring our mum's or Grand's Woman's Own magazine, wrapped round a bit of meat. Grandma was chittering at Grandpa. I was going to say, Cecil, you always wrap the meat up in that little magazine so they're like other knitting patterns or whatever. You always have meat clabbed all over on the back. That'd be a bit torn off for that. And he'd have his dinner. It always be a proper dinner, like Teddy and turnip pie. It was the sort of favourite or meat thing. And then Grandpa would listen to the Archers and then he'd go back to work. And then I remember Mum saying, "I'm to scrub these white overalls, scrub them to get them white, of boiling them and everything before the days of the real sort of washing machines come in." But I can remember back, if you talk when the archers on, go, "Ark, ark," you go, like that, and you just didn't dare speak, not when the archers of the news. It's really the pattern of the day, you know, that was and I can remember on a Friday, he'd bring all the money back from the shop as well, because Gran had a safe, a metal safe in the front room, a metal box, you know, quite a big thing. And Mum and Gran would have to sit down and count all this money, and I can smell that money now. You know, money used to smell, it don't smell like it anymore. It had a certain, but it had a definite smell of this money, these bloody big sort of pound notes and 10 bob notes and everything. And I used to sort of go down and count, you know, as a child, count little bits, but it had this real smell, and because a lot of it was blood-stained as well. Which I never thought anything horrific about. These days you'd be sort of horrified, ooh, you know, can't touch that, but it was just, that's how it come back from the shop, you know, bit of blood in it, just go out for a minute, then chopping up a head of something, and then, you know, it was like, grim, really. But, I mean, it was that lovely feeling of it being, you felt ever so safe, you know, because everybody knew you was, you know, Butcher Tom's granddaughter, so you were always looking after you, looking out for you and everything.
I don't know, that's sort of, yeah.
But have you found that in your village?
Like a village identity.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm much the same as you, because I live in a place where I didn't grow up. My dad did the same. He grew up in Norman Smith, and then he ended up in Trim. When I go back, yonks ago, I did 2 seasons down at Ferry Boat. And I was humorous.
Yeah.
People I'd never met before would come out and buy me a drink because I was a humorous boy.
That's right. It was just,
I'm like, what? And like, so that was his identity.
Yeah.
Trim, I was Boyard.
Yeah, that's right.
What's his name? Oh
gosh. Shame.
And like, now I've moved on to somewhere more different, but they've got that Grampian Road's got its own sort of set of characters. Yeah. I find it weird because when I grew up, there was still more tin mines going, I think. Yeah. You know, that sounds really.
Yeah, and you were like a young fellow, weren't you? You know, it turns out you're some old bloke selling on, isn't it?
And then like they shut down in the last tin crisis, really. But I mean, Grampian Road, it's the clay.
Yeah, very much the clay, isn't it? Yeah.
It's saved, you know, people go on about crofting and it has to be saved and the rest of it. There's at least 10 times as many jobs up in the clay. And that's under threat as well. Yeah,
and that would be, if that went, I mean, God, that would be, wouldn't it? That wouldn't be just like a small area, that's a vast area, isn't it? When you drive up through the place. And that's another world, isn't it? Up around Boogle and places like that, you know, it's completely, like, let's say, coming from where I come from, that was just something you could see, when you went out on Chapel Cliffs, you could see the white hills of the clay, and you knew it was St Austell and the clay, but you knew nothing else about it other than when you went on a school trip, you went and saw it all for the first time, and went into this other world, you know, other complete kingdom, I think, really, and it's got a sort of own sort of mystery about it, I think, isn't it, which is, you know, like you say, a coastal place to you was something you didn't really know about, more than I didn't really know much about inland places. I mean, even when I went to school in Lew, that was still by the sea, so a lot of my contemporaries were, their dads was fishermen or lived by boat building, because my dad came from Lew, so a lot of the people I went to school with, their fathers was my father's chums, and I'd go home from school saying, oh, I've got this boy in my class called so-and-so, and I was like, oh, that's Russell's boy, and then he was thrilled that I was going to school with all these old contemporaries children. It was really nice to find that again, you know.
The fishermen were the dialect speakers, were the strongest dialect of the fishermen?
I think they were, well, I'll say that, I mean, Granville was very broad, I mean, he was a butcher, like I say, but he used to be a labourer before that, and he used to go up in the country a lot with these meat rounds. I mean, he was up like 4 o'clock with the horse, cart, and not my mum's day, obviously not my day, to take meat up there. So I suppose he mixed very much with very deep accented people anyway. But, I mean, the fishermen, I mean, there was many names of them, they all had nicknames. Like my great-grandfather was Gratford Darkie, and he was a pilchard packer. And that's the other thing, all Darkie's maid, and Mum was always Darkie's maid's maid. You know, that was her grandfather, Darkie's maid. And but there was Charlie Coobett and Alfie Darcy. They all had names like, you know, Pucky or something, but there's Alfie Darcy, Uncle Wren, and you know, this is all that I can remember Mum tells me about it. Tommy Tong, he was Long Tom, Charlie Gary, We weren't called that, really. It was called nothing called Charlie, but their surnames just, you know, I suppose it just went back to their families and their families before them, I suppose. All had these lovely nicknames, right? And I can remember sort of being Alfred Darcy, was he calling Alfred Darcy for his face? It's really cool. Oh, I don't know what he was called, Alfred Pucky, I think, Alfred Darcy. He had this leaky old boat, and he used to take little people, say, nice trip out round the harbour. He'd go, and he'd sort of take you, and you see these people getting this boat, oh, it's never fit to go to sea in, right? And something leaking like a bastard, he'd have old pair of paddles, he was ever so old, he'd take these sort of, imagine, oh, how quaint, was a super little man, you know. and you just, oh, I wouldn't go out there if I was you, you know. And it was, but he was a good, and Charlie too, but he was a funny old chap, and he, I don't know, he died 80 odd, he was a widower. But he loved his ale, you know, which was like looked on a bit disappearing by the like the Grand, the Methodist sort of thing. And he liked the ladies as well. Like there's all these pictures of old Charlie with nice little bit of stuff coming down across the quay. And this awful craggy boy, lovely bit of stuff. And he got his arms in like leching these two dolly birds, you know, the 60s. I'm talking about 60s, 70s dolly birds. Like he's a dirty old man really, but I mean he's a real character for all that, you know, grand sort of. Was on a different wavelength to him. She'd always take them a dish of dinner to him because he was on his own and he's actually basically, you know, he took look after himself, and she put that looking after bit of people looking after someone who's less fortunate than they are, like, you know. But it was and I loved all that. And Wilfred, our dear friend Wilfred, he was a fisherman and he was lovely. He died about 5 years ago. What do you think about this morning? And him and my dad, well, what fun they used to have, because Dad had a workshop out on where it's now the Maritime Museum in Cornwall, Fisherman's Museum out on the slip. It was all like workshops, fishermen's workshops, and Dad had his carpentry workshop out there. Wilfred and Raymond used to come into Dad, it was always having fun and games. He was like messing about and doing practical jokes and having lovely yarns and that. And Wilfred, he was dear friend to me. He really took to me and Vic. I used to love to chat to us and everything. He was never married or anything. And I remember when I was about 15, going up Plymouth to get a new outfit. You know, that's the only place you'd go and buy trendy clothes, and you desperately wanted to be fashionable in those days. And I come home with this Ben Sherman check shirt, which was really the in thing then. Which, I mean, they are again now, but I mean, I'll talk about 100 years ago. And a long knitted maxi cardigan, and I forget what. And I really thought this was it. And I went down the quay. You know, I mean, this is the only place you go and pull power with your clothes on, you know, to look small, was down quay, or chapel, or Sunday school. So Saturday night, I'm rushing down the quay, like, thinking that all these people are going to be really impressed with me in my town clothes. And Wilfred said, my dear May, whatever we got on, he said, like Auntie Maisie, this great long black cardigan on, and like my ego sort of completely crumbled. So they saw you, like, they didn't sort of see fashion, they just saw you, whatever we got on, mate, you know. When I was from Mum and Dad, I was really affronted by this. Mum and Dad just scritched laughing, sort of fell about laughing at the thought of poor old Wilfred hitting the nail on the head, like, you know. Oh dear.
That's a good. That's a good story.
Oh, Wilfred, yeah. He's I mean, a lot of people came to love Wilfred because he was a very sweet man, you know, and lots of visitors just took to him. He didn't suffer any fools, but he just knew he like and talked to people like. And when he died, the little church in Cornwall was absolutely literally out the door, and it was heaving with people. People from all walks of life had such respect for him, like they just turned up, you know. It was really good. And the vicar was a really lovely vicar up there then, and and my uncle Dickie's the one. He's a fisherman. He went to war with Wilfred in the Navy, which when you think back, what a complete shock that must have been, wasn't it, for people who never lived in Polpo, never perhaps even been to Plymouth, some of them, to go off to war like that. It's very, if you think about it now, it's very humbling, isn't it? You know, we just get on the train and go and everything else, but to them that must have been the trauma of the journey, without the trauma of actually going to war. It must have been, you know. Anyway, Wilfred and Uncle Dick fortunately come back, thank goodness, and of course Wilfred would get us with stories of like they'd forgotten their black socks and they had to put boot polish on their ankles. They wouldn't allow them to ship unless they had black socks on. They used to boot polish their ankles apparently. But Uncle Dickie was like quite opposite to Wilfred. Wilfred used to go to the pub and enjoy that sort of life. But Uncle Dick, he was a lay preacher, Methodist lay preacher, or still is. He's in his late 70s now. But anybody would, whatever your faith was, would go and listen to Uncle Dickie, and you wouldn't be fed up for a minute. He tells a lovely story. His way of preaching is all about when I went out to sea, you know, I used to go to sea, and he would turn it into some like parable, really, you know. So when Wilfred died, I mean, Uncle Dickie went up and brought an address, and they wanted a dry eye in the house. It wouldn't anyway, but it was just so moving that he could, you know, he remembered Wilfred and we all laughed as well, like, you know, it's really, really good. And I mean, Uncle Dickie's probably one of the last speakers in Port Peran, you know, that sort of remembers things and can speak, can really talk without feeling embarrassed or fazed by it, really, you know.
Yeah, it's different nowadays. I've got my thing with this dubbings that people will sort of send you to somebody and you just find that they've got performance skills.
Oh god, yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
It's that they dabbled in storytelling, or they the worst of all the dialect people like listen to those more and all that lot, because they do for the mass market. That's fine, but they really do annoy one or two proper sort of dialects. You know, sort of, sort of hell, he's speaking like me, and it's not quite as natural, but he's making money out of it.
Yeah, and also being an amusement, aren't they, as well? So they're sort of almost like laughing at us, aren't they? The fact they're making money out of it. I mean, good luck to them in some ways, but that's the sort of attitude some people got about it, haven't they? You know, my dad's, you know, poking himself up, you know, and making money, as you say, putting himself up as being something that bit different than everybody else. But I mean, Uncle Dickie is just such a natural. I mean, he's a very shy man, but he talks from the heart. You know, it really is where, you know, what it's all about. I suppose a lot of the preachers were like that. In my day, we used to have all these, like, you know, big Methodists, all these lay preachers just come, and they were just farmers or fishermen or whatever, just ordinary people. And if you're lucky, they had a good tale to tell, not just like a sermon, you know, hellfire and damnation stuff, but a real tale to tell, you know, because they were men who lived on the land or lived on the sea or whatever, you know, that's where they came from. Like, and Mr. Salt, it was so funny, we started this preacher, if I could get libelous action now, this preacher from Paul Ruin, what is it, Mr. Salt, it was first time I was wanting. Oh my, Mr. Salt's preaching, like, oh my goodness, and he always came with this red nose, which suggested he'd been on the old booze a bit, like, whether he was or not, because most people in the chapel were so innocent of alcohol, they wouldn't have known if he was on it or not, really. And he always seemed to manage to get into the sermon something slightly towards the lewd, you know, on the verge of, like, it's all, you know, is it something, you know, admonition of the Lord, and it was always a bit Adam and Eve-y, like, you know, like, sort of bodies and stuff like that. Like, you know, that advert for the one of the butter adverts, it was like 3 cows, you got them. And I said, it's marvellous how they make like 3 cows do the same thing, isn't it? And you didn't laugh because you thought, no, you mustn't have offended by laughing. You roared out, like, Gran thinks those cows really do that, you know. But that's it. When you actually think that my Gran was 90 when she died, like 3 years ago. Well, how can they take on board all that technology? Because it was something that gradually came along. We've been bombarded with, like, the video and the telly and everything else, and it's all, to them, it was something they didn't really understand the logic of, did they? Because they didn't have that sort of thing at school, and you know, you didn't get the sciences and, well, I don't understand the logic of half of it, but you know what I mean? You didn't have that background of things.
You think the telly's affected the way people speak?
Oh, definitely. I think so. I mean, when Grant was one of the first ones to have a telly in Popper, because Grant was like Butcher Tom's, I used to Giles had one, so I think Grant would pick them at the post. It's like, who had the car first, the delivery van first, and then who had the television first. I mean, this black and white thing used to flip away in the corner. And we used to go down and watch this thing, and I mean, it was like this magic box, and it only went on for a certain time and went off, sort of thing. And then we used to go up to watch the black and white minstrels at my Auntie Eva's house on a Saturday night. I mean, you would run the other way, wouldn't you? But then that was like pure entertainment then, and then colour telly coming in. And I mean, it has, I think it's definitely, I mean, it's like chapel, for instance. I mean, that, well, nowhere near the amount of people go to chapel anymore, because I guess they're watching the telly, watching songs of praise. You know, I mean, songs of praise has got its place, isn't it? Because lots of people can't go to chapel. Like when Gran got too old, she would devoutly watch songs of praise, and I thought, well, that was something she could have. But and there's always concerts, weren't there, in the village and things like that. That was all the thing that's been now lost because of television, and like talent competitions and people singing and playing the piano. I mean, everybody at my mum didn't actually ever really learn the piano, but they had one at home because Mum sang, she was sang. But everybody had piano. All my aunties played the piano because that was what was the done thing then. You know, it's like not an accomplishment for a young girl, but it was a very vital part of life. You know, especially like the Methodists, they love to sing. And I mean, it was always like Auntie Eunice got a tiny little organ in her house, that thing, the pedal organ thing, and that that's what's gone now because of the television, isn't it? I mean, we wouldn't dream of having a piano in our house because, you know...
Never dreamed that.
Well, that's a bit of a struggle, isn't it? But,
no. The whole setup is different as we've gone through time. That houses are like little blocks that people don't wander in and out of people's houses.
No, that's right. I mean, it's a proverbial thing, you never locked the door, and Paul probably didn't. Right before at the village, the key was on a string through the letterbox, and that's how everybody did it. Very often people just pop in and drop something in your house, like some fish. Oh, Mum said, oh, somebody's been here then, you know, and be like a little rolled up newspaper thing of fish on the side because somebody done it, you know, and there was that sort of openness, because really there wasn't anybody around other than, well, there was all the visitors in the summer and stuff, but somehow they had the distance, they didn't invade people's space the way they do now, I think, you know.
Well, when I was teaching up at Low, I couldn't believe the contrast between summer and winter.
Right.
It's like summer was just absolutely nuts.
Yeah.
And I couldn't find where to live in around though. I had to live in the scout and get down every day.
Yeah. Believe it, yeah.
And then like there was like double yellow lines and no parking and no traffic wardens and
seagulls.
It's just total up in the winter.
Wonderful.
You'd
be like a pick of a house, I expect then, couldn't you?
What was weird then was like all the people you would see were either kids from the school or their parents.
Yeah.
Suddenly it was back to being like a community.
That's right. I mean, we very rarely go on to Paul Power in the summer. I mean, much as it's a lovely time to go on because of the cliffs and everything, you know, that side of it is lovely, it's time to see it, but just the comploction of getting down through the village, you know, it's just horrible, and like people banging on the roofs, you're supposed to come down through here and everything else, and I hate it, I do, you know, and I can't physically drive through the village. I just can't, you know, because I get sort of worked up about it, but and Vic will do it, but it's like this alien place. You sort of end of September, you go home, and like you say, you meet a few people in the street, and if you don't know them, people living in the village, but at least they're living in the village, or you see relations, and it's lovely, and it's all calm, and all back to itself, and it's quietly being itself, you know, and once the rubbish is gone. I mean, you know, they all go to have their holidays, we all become tourists at some point, don't we? Go somewhere as a tourist. And, but it's just that feeling of they don't realise people still live in the places. They think it's a museum. And I can remember, because Grand's house was right down on the pier with the fish market. And he kind of like stare through the windows, no shame, you know, like that, and Grand said, come in, have a cup of tea, my dear, you know. Could have these all glazing through your window, as we would say, you know. And it's all that, and sort of chucking their using your bins and chucking their chip papers down and bunging them in the arbour and that sort of thing. You know, and Dad, when he was still working, you know, carpentering, trying to get his timber and his trolley through the village was just hopeless. And people just, you know, you see, he knocked a woman accidentally once, she went turn and give him a real mouthful, and all he was trying to do is get through to do his job, you know, and it's that sort of hostility from the people that they think that's theirs for the day, and, you know, well, why should anybody else be doing things like, you know, it's I mean, you know, you think, well, we're very fortunate we live here and we can come and do this any time, and these poor souls perhaps have come down from some horrible inner city, and, you know, you've got to share it, haven't you? But on the other hand, they should respect that people actually do live here, like, you know, and love it, and, but,
That's also a good point. That's the other thing, the real big difference between inland and whatever. The difference I found between Liskeard and Lou was amazing.
Oh yeah, Liskeard's a funny little place, isn't it? It's a nice, I mean, that's a nice old-fashioned town, and I hope really that it don't get ruined.
Well, I think they've got a big safeway out of town.
That's right.
When you see what they've done, the road to it, you have to go through 3 roundabouts.
Yeah, it's all.
And they've already got the roundabout that was there, and it was like 2 or 3 roads that just lead off into a field.
Yeah, so we know very well what's going to happen when we get another building. And I think there's some houses already up there around it, isn't there?
There's quite few.
Yeah.
I found the proper little towns are all up north Cornwall.
Yeah, I love Camelford, plus they're lovely, isn't they? Really old-fashioned hills, isn't they, really? I mean, it must be really frustrating if you live there in these modern times. You want other things, isn't it? I mean, it's, you know, if you need shopping and that, you can't get everything or what we expect to get anymore. I mean, like I was saying to you before about when I was little, you had Tommy Aikens, Grandpa's Butcher Shop, and Mr Giles in the bakery. Well, that's all you had, so therefore everybody was satisfied with that. Whereas now, Mum and Dad come down to ours to do their shopping once a fortnight from Polpo. There's no supermarket other than the Liskeard near them. So because now needs have changed, they do that. Whereas, I mean, a lot of like people who haven't got cars, they just have to stick with whatever Tommy Aitken's shop. We just shrunk and gone away to nothing. What they can provide, or just rely on people like Mum and Dad bringing their shopping back from, that sort of thing. So we all need more. So I mean, you can imagine that my sister lives in Low, and she has to go to Safeways to do her shopping because there's nowhere in Low to get decent shopping, to get their main bulks of shopping. So they've got a baby and everything.
And you've got a supermarket then now.
We've got a little tiny co-op, I think it is, which sheltered this diet, and how it's really hopeless if you want to get, because we've all our tastes have changed, haven't we? We've all gone so cosmic, but we want green peppers now, and we want choice of fruits. To buy all these fruits and that. I mean, you can't get it, because they wouldn't put a Tesco up there new on the Millpool, and there's lots of over that apparently. I mean, like Tom said, really, that's what Lou needs. It brings so many jobs in and inject a lot of more, as a political thing, but it was, in that case, they go stick another one up St Austell, and you got like Asda already, don't you? But someone like Lou desperately needs a big shop.
It's the classic thing of like Lou and Polperro, St Ives, St Ives is big, but they're like, you are allowed to have supermarkets.
Yeah, that's right.
It's places for artists.
Yeah, I mean, I hate for Polperro to have a great supermarket, but where they want to put it in Lou is that, the Millpool here, where that big car park is.
Westerly.
That's right, Westall. So they want to put it. Yeah, up through where?
Cornishdialect.
Oh yeah, Port Peran.
So lovely.
Port Peran, I think.
That's the way you say it, is it?
Yeah, I think that's what Dad calls it. But instead of going down Westall Quay, you go the other way, and there's that big car park where everybody goes in Millpool. There used to be boat builders yards up there. That's where Dad did his apprenticeship years ago. But that's where they wanted to put the Tesco. So these would be sort of mostly hidden from most people's eyes, but I don't know, it's that very controversial, isn't it, really? But the need's there, isn't it? And like I say, with St Ives, I mean, if there's some people this large give their eye teeth to better go shopping in a proper shop without having to trail off down Penzance, wouldn't they? But, ale. Oh yeah, you got a couple of ale, haven't they? Yeah.
Mother-in-law lived at Carpus Bay.
Oh, right.
She used to do all her shopping at Kernow.
Yeah.
The one at Hale was very good. And Penzance, to get in from St Ives to Penzance, you had to go across them. Just go into Hale.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
It was easier to go to Kernow.
Yeah. Yes, that's it. Unless it was like, me living here, our generation, I'm so used to just being in Truro working and just picking your food out. You do wonder what it'd be like to be back in Polperro, for instance, the frustrations of not being able to get all you wanted and all that you're used to now. I mean, if you didn't have a choice, you just have to stuck with it, wouldn't you? But, it's... we should be back to not having a choice. That's where we've all gone wrong.
I don't think we're better off in supermarkets.
No, it's just...
People just are so like, what used to be a treat.
It's become the norm now. But I suppose it's just what we expect now, isn't it? It's like having a car, isn't it? The sort of, we take things for granted. It's just become the norm now, isn't it? I mean, I think you always have to keep in your mind what would it be like to have to go back to that, don't you? I think you never really let yourself... I mean, like the primer stove, we used to go on our trips in the boat. I mean, you think, well, there's always a primer stove. You always go back to that if you're really desperate. I mean, we're so cushioned by all these lovely pieces of equipment now, aren't we, and things. I've got a washing machine, which I wait a long time to get, you just couldn't afford it. And I'm pleased to got this thing, but I know, much as it be a drag, I could actually go back to not having a washing machine. I don't want to, particularly, but something happened that you could do that. I mean, all this... I watch the telly, but I'm indifferent to the video, really. And any other computers and stuff, it's just not in my world, So I think perhaps I'll try and cling to what it used to be like, But somehow we're sucked into it all, aren't we? It's a shame that the modern world is catching up with us, I think. And you know what I mean? That makes sense. I mean, you're so used to it all now that...
Well, the kids in school were like, we went to the Isle of Man on holiday, just opened a brand new visitor centre, and they had touch screen.
Oh, yeah.
What was amazing there is like, the kids thought this was rubbish because the graphics on their games at home were twice
better than, yeah.
The old people said, what the hell is this? It was only us sad middle-aged people that appreciated it.
Yeah. I mean, I worry about the kids. I mean, I won't say all very quaint, but when I was a kid, I mean, I'm 41 now, so when I was like in the early 60s, I was a little girl. And Mum would go swimming out Sally Cove. We'd pack up a basket, you know, food and stuff, and I wouldn't take any toys with me. Never entered your head to take anything with you, because you always know that on the Sally Cove, it's just a little tiny little gully out on the outskirts of Polpo Harbour. You'd always find a bit of wood and a bit of reed and some shells. You'd make boats, you'd make all these. I mean, I'm an artistic person. I've always made things, but even so, that was it. That was fine. I spent hours on my own before my sister arrived, you know, because she was, like I say, a lot younger. And I'd be totally happy and entertained, wouldn't look for anything else. And I mean, like Vic says, you know, he'd always made camps as a boy, you know. I said, love going off into the woods and making camps. And I don't know, I mean, hopefully some children still do that, but a lot of children don't, do they? Because we're giving them all this technology, which has enhanced their lives in some ways. But on the other hand, where does the imagination and making things come in, you know, practical skills? You know, it's that troubles me, that perhaps kids don't do that sort of thing anymore. And that's the sort of thing I used to do. I mean, I remember like my girlfriends when I was a little kid, we used to go up in the garden and we'd take our Cindy dolls, but we used to play hours up there with these things and making meals out of leaves and all that sort of stuff. And you're perfectly happy. You didn't crave for anything else. But now, with all this sort of computer games and that, would a child be content just doing that? You know, because they've bitten the forbidden fruit, haven't they? You know what I mean? You can't.
It's a difficult one to say.
Yeah.
Because you've got like major companies selling things.
Oh yeah, I know. That's what I mean. There's no chance, is there? I don't think there's any. All you can hope is that the parents of the children still give them chance to do their own thing, isn't it? I mean, a lot of our friends who sort of artistic, they let their children do a lot of painting and drawing, encourage them to do all that and to read a lot, and you only hope that still is interesting enough for the children. They don't want to forget all that and get onto the computers and stuff. You know, you still got to have your imagination. You know? I mean, like me saying about that language thing and language lab in new school, and that was B's and A's at that come in. I mean, probably about 20 years behind anything in London, but it was like knobs to switch, you know. I mean, I would say I wouldn't be into it, but I mean, the ones who did, this was marvellous, you know, these things, this technology in its real basic form there, which, I mean, they just laugh at now, you know. But, I don't know.
They just don't have them anymore.
Yeah.
They don't experiment. That's amazing. The whole stuff about schools and poor and the rest of it. Every secondary school put in a language lab, which is like you say, the cutting edge. It was really expensive.
Yeah, a whole room, isn't it, converted into this thing.
And they found it didn't work. And now it's completely scrapped.
Yeah. I didn't even know how long it was in Lush school. I mean, it sort of came before I went. I don't know how long after that it disappeared, I'm sure, but it's...
No, I just find that people always go about how poor the schools are, and like how many millions are wasted on language labs right now.
Well, they weren't wasted for the people who enjoyed them, were they? So.
But if they were that good, why don't they still on some
Yeah. I suppose the schools were I mean, when I went to Lush school, I mean, it was very small. I don't even know how many students they called, how many pupils was there actually at the time, but it was a wonderful school because you had such good, intense teaching because you weren't very many, you know. It was people said, I hated school. I said, well, I didn't have a marvellous time at school. I really enjoyed school, you know, but the maths, but then that's another story. But I had a really wonderful time, and it was, you know, it's a very special time, I think. Again, I suppose it's this community thing, isn't it, that you were sort of, you were an individual in a way, I think, because people knew your parents, or they knew your auntie, or still had that size about it, you know, the scale, I think.
One of the scales, it's what they draw from as well. It's like, very few people sort of go to primary school and when they go to secondary school they're in their mates. I didn't have that. I should have gone to Camden school. I went to a cleaner in Camden school. You see the awful letters to write up on the walls. Mother was so horrified she sent me over the drink.
Really?
All my mates went to Camden and went to retreat. I passed my 11th class to go on to Dumpy school, called St Anne's, they wouldn't have me.
Really?
Too far away. And so.
Oh, no, but these days you'd be there, wouldn't you? Because kids jet in from all over the place, don't they, to schools now? Oh, well, I didn't pass my 11th class, but after I went to Lou, secondary modern in those days, I was offered a place at the grammar school. I don't know what had happened, whether it's just been a space, but I chose to stay at the secondary school, and I think I made the right choice really at that time. It was a really good school, and it's very lovely sort of atmosphere there and everything. There's always that sort of, like grammar school thing, wasn't it? The snobbery thing, like, or whatever, but I didn't take notice of it. I mean, I certainly didn't take any notice of it. I think my mum would like me to go to grammar school, because she was a grammar school girl. I mean, when you think of that, she used to go from Peran to Low on the bus, and from Low to the school on the train, and then walk to school every day. Go to school up from Peran. It's quite a way, I mean, she did it every single day throughout the war as well.